I'm here with international arbiter Judit Sztaray, and she is one of the top movers and shakers on the tournament side for tournament chess and also for chess.com. Um, can you give everybody a real quick, um, just 1,000 foot view of what you do in the chess world, Judith?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to talk to you and talk about chess. It's my passion. Um, I'm currently full-time at chess.com. I work I have two roles in chess.com. I work with the growth initiative and reach out to clubs and offer them the affiliate program and try to support them. It's a completely free program, so it's really fun to see it grow. We I joined chess.com last April, and we had about the 100th club end of December, and now we are at 330. So we see the exponential growth now with this program, and clubs like it. And then I'm also with the events department and the event coordination side. So I create players guide for the different events like Champions Chess Tour or the Junior Speed Championship and so on. I do players meeting, I communicate with players, I create surveys. That's part of my job. And I also help with the event coordinator team start those games and things like that. So it's always fun to start Kramnik and Gata Kamsky game online, something I've never thought that I would do, but here I am and doing it, and I love it, and I am really happy and grateful for chess.com.
Yeah, and here you are working with legends, like you said, Kramnik and
I know.
Gatakamsky.
Yeah.
So, how did you first get into working in chess? I mean, I know you had a career before. Can you tell everybody what you did before chess?
I did chemistry. I was a clinical chemist, analytical chemist. Before that, I was theoretical and physical chemist. Chemistry was my passion from elementary school, and that's how I met my husband. And he's also a chemist. He's a physical chemist, and he's the bigger name in the field. So I followed him around. We were after we got married. We went to North Carolina, and he was Chapel Hill, and I was working a little bit for UNC too, as he was. And then I went and did some clinical chemistry work for Duke, and some cancer research. It was really, really interesting. And then we moved back to Hungary a little bit, and I finished my PhD with my third daughter in my belly. It was
Wow.
really fun. And then after we moved to California. And at that time, I made a choice to be a stay-at-home mom because the commute would have been brutal for a chemist, because any company job would have been in the Bay Area, and we live about an hour away. With traffic, it's probably 2 hours. So I made a choice to be there for my young daughters. And whenever they were growing up, I went back to work. I was first a data scientist at University of the Pacific. I did institutional research. It was really fun. But at that time we started going to tournaments, and then at that time our income was I mean, these tournaments are expensive. So I
Yeah.
started volunteering, and I exchange in exchange of volunteering, I got free entry, usual typical story. And I enjoyed it so much, and I helped various projects, and I got recruited, and I left my institutional research job at University of the Pacific to become the executive director of a nonprofit in the Bay Area. I did that for 5 years. I worked for 3 years at the oldest chess club in the US, Mechanics Chess Club.
All That's
It's the
exciting.
chess club,
It's
and
it's
then
older than the Marshall Club?
yes, it is older than the Marshall Club. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's very
So
exciting.
yeah, it is very exciting. And then after mechanics, I started chess.com. I still have a little bit of role in mechanics. I'm the lead tournament director there, helping them schedule tournaments, rate tournaments, and we now have new TDs. So I'm hoping I will be able to step back a little bit on that.
So basically, your daughters pulled you into chess.
Yes,
Had you
that's great.
played before that at all, or
Yeah, so when you grow up in Hungary, you basically chess is in the air, right?
right?
So I've seen my grandfather play chess with my brother. Sometimes I play too. So we like probably you know the rules from while you're still in your mother's belly. So it's really very it's in the culture, right?
Yeah.
So I always knew how to play chess. I was never a passionate chess player because I somehow have a hard time calculating deep into lines, and thus I'm not a good chess player. So everyone can look up my rating. I'm very proud that I'm not a good chess player in terms of I don't have time and I don't to study a lot, and I also I somehow I don't have the ability to focus on different variations, different lines, and but I love the game. I got really passionate when we rediscovered this with my daughter, and I have a passion for rules, rules, follow logic, and somehow the arbiter world was really for me.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud that my daughter during high school she did couldn't study that much for chess tournaments, so she started arbitrating, and she's actually a really good arbiter as well, and she followed her arbiter kind of mentality, and she's now in Oxford Law. So
Oh, wow.
she used that pitch to Oxford Law that arbiter word and lawyer, it's kind of similar. So
Okay, I wasn't planning on this, but before we get into the arbiter world, because that's really fascinating, and you have plenty of expertise in that. You're actually one of the foremost arbiters in the United States. But first, I want to ask: is there a cultural difference between Hungary and the United States in terms of how the culture sees chess?
that's a good question. I mean, um, I don't know how to answer that because the kids in Hungary there are some schools which have chess as their choice,
Mm-hmm.
even in elementary school, and it's actually not a choice; it's a mandatory subject. So with Judith Polgar's initiative, um, this is happening. It's not everywhere, right?
Right.
But I think we can actually find schools in the US who are starting that. I know with Elliot Neff and the few Miami schools, they are doing it. I know my good friend Abel, he's actually a full-time coach at the Hamilton School in Novato, and they expose the kids, all the students to chess. So I think the culture is not that different. Certainly, supporting higher rated players is not good either at either country. I wish there was more that the US would do to our high rated elite players, and
Yeah.
obviously wish Hungary would do. We all know that Rapport left because of that, so
Right. Right.
I think actually they are quite similar.
Oh, that's interesting because I would have just seen it as similar to other Eastern European countries that do provide support. But yeah, you're right. Richard Rapport left because he wasn't getting support. Where did he go? I'm just curious, just for the.
He went to Romania.
Oh, okay. That's surprising that Romania has better
Very
support.
surprising, and you need to know the culture, the Hungarian culture. You know, every country has one enemy for historical purposes. For us, is Romania. Like
Oh
so,
no,
it was like it
that's a
was a
big
hard.
shock.
that was a big shock.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, absolutely. But I have good Romanian friends, starting
Yeah.
with Christian Kurila. So yeah,
Yeah, chess does bring people together in ways that
exactly.
other things don't. Okay, let's move on to your experience as an arbiter.
Yeah.
Um, so how did you go from volunteering, just volunteering at events to becoming a director and an arbiter?
Yeah, so when I changed jobs, I was mainly focusing on organizing. So I
Okay.
organized a lot of events. And while organizing, obviously, I was around. Even if I wasn't officially a tournament director, I was always around. I hired the tournament directors for the events. I
Right.
knew which position needed which expertise, and it was a nice learning experience, and it gave me a lot of understanding of the events. And I obviously also I was running smaller events when I could do it, and so it just appealed to me. And then it turned out there was a point where I said that okay, I've done everything I could in the organizer world. And I want to focus on the arbiter world. And I was already a senior TD, and then I became, funny enough, I actually stayed a senior TD and then went on the FIDE ladder, because there are two branches, right? You
Yep.
have the US chess branch and you have the FIDE, the World Chess brand Federation brand. US chess, you need to become a senior TD in order to start out at the FIDE level. And then I was stayed senior TD, and I became national arbiter, FIDE arbiter, and international arbiter. And then I eventually did my assistant and national TD certifications as well. So I'm
Okay,
one
so
of the three females in the US who both have national TD and FIDE IA titles. So very proud.
why would you even need both?
Well, the US chess certifications are needed for US chess events. So if I wanna be the chief tournament director of a national event, I need the NTD title. And also, it's just something. I was always a title achiever, so PhD
Yeah.
and so I wasn't gonna stop in the middle. There are different opinions whether titles matter or not. For my peace of mind, I wanted to complete that.
Do you think having a two track system like that complicates it for directors that complicates things for directors that want to achieve these titles? I guess I'm getting at it. Is it necessary to have a two-track system in the United States?
That's a very good question, and I would say yes. I think it's a good system because it allows those directors who really don't care about FIDE events to go and just focus on US chess. US chess has slightly different rules. FIDE applies slightly different rules. Also, FIDE needs, when you become a FIDE arbiter and then international arbiter, you do need to understand the norms and all that comes with the norm calculations and doing a norm, applying a norm title. So yeah, so I think it's good to have US chess, a separate US chess brand. It gives people the ease of getting started on the club level and then local level. And then, yes, if they are passionate and want to do bigger events, then they can become senior. But yeah, it's good.
Okay, great. Yeah, I want to get to the fact that there's only three female arbiters with this level. I mean,
Yeah.
how many do you know how many male arbiters that have
I don't
the two
actually.
tracks?
Yeah, there were significantly a lot more. And the recently I actually dig into a little bit of the data, and we only have like 10% of female arbiters in the top categories. So
Hmm.
the NTD, ANTD, and senior level, because I really wish I can see a 50-50 or even 25% of arbiters at nationals or at bigger tournaments, but there are just simply not enough female arbiters.
Yeah.
So I every time I go to talk to girls, I tell them that playing is great. Don't give up playing. But if you have any doubt of oh, I'm not gonna be a good chess player, so stop. Don't stop, and then go to the arbiter line, because it's we need more female arbiters.
Right. And how does the US compare to the world? Is it
I
is
have
there
no
more
idea.
gender parity in, say, like in Europe, or
I really don't know.
okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I
Just
know.
just curious.
I think I I saw a report, or one of the arbiter reports, that actually they do keep a count of how many female arbiters they hire for bigger events. And if my memory is right, that I seen a higher number, so that leads me to believe that there might be a little bit more.
Right. Right. And would you say that, with your encouragement of female players to get into arbiting and becoming tournament directors, are you a leader for these women and girls?
I, I mean, I hope so, and I really trying to grab every opportunity to encourage girls. So literally every time I go and meet girls, I tell them, "Hey, there's an arbiter world out there," and I'm really very honored to be
Yeah.
the chief arbiter of the Carnes Cup. Currently, I'm in St. Louis right now. Um, chief arbitering the highest prize fund event, female only event, and doing interviews like this, and with the St. Louis Chess Club, being on social media. I hope that girls are listening and get encouragements, and you guys know they can reach out to me anytime, anywhere, and I help them with their events. So hopefully we'll see some change.
That's great. And so let's get back to the actual work of being an arbiter. What does your typical day look like when you're directing a tournament?
Well, it's funny you ask, but because I'm really lucky and thankful for chess.com for letting me do this, because this is not part of my chess.com job, obviously. So this is a separate assignment, or a privately. So during these days, I get up a little bit earlier. I do my chess.com work until around noon, and
Wow.
then after that, I go to the club. Well, the tournament is actually at the World Chess Hall of Fame. I go there around noon, make sure it's set up. Chris Bird is my deputy chief. I learned so much from him, so I'm really grateful for him to be working together. We set up and wait for the players, and the players arrive around 12:40, 12:45, 12:50. We do the scanning. The round goes from 1 until about 6:30. A quick dinner, and then I work a little bit more. So during these days when I do these long events, it's a double up between chess.com and the arbiter world. If I do the weekend tournaments, that's a little bit easier. I don't have to work
But then
extra.
you're working 7 days.
Yeah, but this is my passion. I don't care about this. Right. So
That's really interesting.
yeah, I don't know if I've ever taken a day off, like completely off from chess. So yeah.
Oh well, that's pretty exciting. It's nice to hear that someone really is really passionate about the chess world, and we need people like you in the chess world. Um, so how many events do you think you direct a year?
So that's a good question. Oh, like we have to differentiate between me helping an event as a virtual TD. So like for if you go into my tournament records, there's a lot of tournaments because I'm the one who's helping mechanics submit the tournaments. So I put down myself as an assistant TD just in case any problems, they can contact me, and it's not out of the loop. But yeah, About, I think at least once a month I do that. Maybe twice a month I direct tournaments. I have a little club, coach Kiki in the Bay Area, Kingsland Chess Club. I do a monthly tournament for them on Friday evenings. I love it. It's like 60 kids, and a lot of girls. So I often tell them so. Yeah, and then I have these big events. I love it. I was honored to be invited for the American Cup, now for the Carnes Cup. Now then I'm heading to Singapore for the Olympic Esport Series final.
Oh
Chess is
yeah,
one of
yeah.
the new ones. So FIDE hired me as the deputy chief together with Talia. So it's exciting. And then I'm going to Beale Chess Festival. They invited me to. So
Wow,
and
Beal.
that's my end of summer. And then I haven't actually planned my fall yet.
Well, that's so you're. Are we saying like 30 to 40 a year or more?
Yeah, about 30, 40. Yeah, depending on, because these are long events as well. So
Right.
like the Carnes Cup is almost 2 weeks, Beale Festival is 2 weeks. So yeah, maybe 20, 25, 30, something like that. I've never actually counted. So
And for someone who's uninitiated, like what does it mean to be invited to the Beale Chess Festival to be an arbiter?
so that's actually a very good point. So in the US arbiters have kind of a disability in terms of, no, that's not a good word. We are not in a good position to get invited to European and worldwide events, right?
Right.
Because European organizers, they tend to invite European arbiters. So it actually took me to tell them, hey guys, I'm going to be in Hungary. So if you need an IA, I can go and you don't need to pay my travel fee because I'm going to be very close. And I obviously, Beale is such an iconic historical tournament. It's going to be at the 50th this year. So I
Wow.
I was kind of asking them if they need another arbiter. Maybe they can hire me. So that's I hired. It takes for a US arbiter to get invited for international events. It takes hustle. So and you can turn down opportunities. So that's the other thing. You need a good support system, family wise. I have an
Right.
amazing husband who lets me do this, and my kids are older now, so this I could not have done this 10 years ago. So
Right, right. And it's coming at a pretty incredible moment for chess worldwide. The
yeah,
popularity of chess has exploded.
yeah.
And I mean, that's one of the reasons why these tournaments are all being. I mean, Beal's 50 years old, but the Olympic esports, this is the first year, right?
Yes, exactly. And well, that's basically a direct result of me being working for chess.com, and we did the Global Chess Championship final sort of in person. We
Mm-hmm.
had two locations, one in uh, and this is what I wanted to
No
avoid.
worries.
We had one location in Toronto and another location in Serbia, and I told the guys, "Hey guys, we can actually hybrid rate this event." So we did a hybrid rate the final, and that experience gave me such a learning opportunity, and really it was a really successful event. And I think I'm really happy to FIDE recognized that. And Talia, the chief arbiter, she was the chief arbiter for the Play Magnus Group's champion chess tour. So these us two girls, females, will be the arbiters for that. So it's super fun.
That's fantastic. And it can't help but notice Olympic esports. Is the International Olympic Committee involved in this? Is this in
Yes,
any
very
way
much so.
related to the push to get chess in the
Yes.
Olympics itself?
Yeah, and so now they did it. So yeah, chess is in the Olympic sports. It's in the Olympic esports now. So yeah, the Olympic esport committee regulates everything. So I'm actually not allowed to post on social media until they post something, and I can just retweet it. So
Wow, wow. What other esports are there?
I can actually tell you exactly because we just got well, actually we had this before, but I can tell you exactly. So there is archery, baseball, cycling, dance, motorsports, sailing, shooting, taekwondo, and tennis.
Oh, wow.
And don't ask me how they do it because I have no I have
So,
no
I mean, so it's literally just an official Olympic sport then.
Yes, yes. It's
Um,
it's
so
every regulation that you can imagine. So there will be an anti-doping meeting. There will
right.
be there's it's a very professionally organized.
Wow, that's really interesting. And so, and this is the first time that chess is in the Olympics officially.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and do you know what contingent we're sending from the United States?
So it's not like that. It we had qualifiers.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We
Yeah.
had we had preliminaries. So all those were happening on chess.com.
Okay.
Um, and then after that, we have 8 players who are the finalists, and I would be able, no, 10 players, sorry about that. 10 players who are the finalists. I don't think I can code the names right now.
Oh, okay. So
So
the
many events going on.
so the no, it's okay. So the qualifiers were worldwide.
Yeah, so
Okay.
well, and yeah, so there were qualifiers, there were preliminaries that all happened at chess.com. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's fantastic. And I guess this gives us a good opportunity to move into the top players in the United States,
Yeah.
because a large portion of this project is showing how the ecosystem supports a lot of these very talented players that are producing amazing games
Yes.
and fighting for worldwide titles and the world championships. So first, let's start on the well, let's just start on the female side. What American players are in contention for the world championship? Do you know off the top of your head?
Female wise,
Yeah.
I mean, I I'm a big believer in Irina Crush.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen her in person. I've seen her commentating. I've seen her on the Olympiad. It's she's a very interesting player. She's not that attacking style, and she's very positional. So you can never know how her game will turn out. Her game is like it's really interesting, and she can pull out a win almost from any positions, and she has a unique talent, I think. So I'm a big fan of her. She's very humble, she's very fun, she's very entertaining. So all that is good for chess, and so uh, I'm
She's very
hoping
fierce. The look in
she's
her eye
very
when she's playing is
yes,
I get scared.
very
And
focused. Yeah.
I don't get scared about anybody. I'm only an expert, but I'll sit down on the board with anybody. I'll be
Yeah.
ready to play anybody, but I would be very scared to play her.
Yeah.
So let's see, Crush. Actually, what we can talk about is the U.S. is actually behind the world as far as the top female players.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody in the top 10 as far as rating goes. Why do you think that is?
That's a good question, and I think that also goes into why we have less girls,
Uh-huh.
um, and the US climate, right? I think those female players who are in the top, their culture is training, 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 and
Right.
supporting those trainers, supporting the players with trainers, supporting the players, right? Um, I, it is hard for players to focus on training without support.
Right.
So obviously that's an issue. It's
Is it
also
is is it because a lot of that support comes from government and even corporations, rather, while
Yeah.
in the United States most of the support is private?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, like the Azeri players and the Kazakhstan players and the
Mm-hmm.
Chinese players and Russian players, all these players, I feel that they are getting government support,
Yeah.
as well as really wealthy private benefactors supporting the cause. In the US is not very popular, I would say. It's not in the culture.
Right.
But you know, I maybe it will change. We'll see. The girls also have a different mentality. The girls are very widespread in interest. I see this. I have three girls. They want to try out everything. There's a lot of um, it, from early on, elementary school, middle school, high school, and college too. So they're I think the girls have a much wider focus,
Mm.
wider interest, and the boys are more can be narrowly focused on one specific subject. If a few girls they do have that narrow focus, they excel. Like Alice Lee, I love her. I think she's amazing. I think she's going to be a really amazing player. She's going to be one of our top players in a few years.
Do you know how old
So
she is?
she's, I think, 13.
13. Wow, that's incredible. What's her? Is
Yeah.
she What's her title at the tournament?
Um,
It's okay if you don't know. We can
I
look it up later.
think WGM and IM, but I can be wrong. Maybe she doesn't have the IM title yet.
Right.
So I can quickly look it
No, no,
up.
no.
But
Don't worry about that. I can add that in after.
yeah.
Um. So okay. So Alice Lee is a top prodigy. Are there any other top prodigies that you want to mention?
Um, no, I think Alice is my favorite in terms of the younger players. And she's an FIDE master, WIM, Woman International Master.
Okay.
So
Okay.
she's getting I know she's hunting her IM norms during the summer. So wish her all the best.
So she has a lot of work to do to reach like Crush's level, which is Grandmaster. Um. So what does she need to do to even get there?
I mean, a lot of training, a lot of tournament experience. I don't know. I'm not a good chess player. So
Yeah.
you should ask that too
Right.
from the coaches that you interview. I really am not an expert in this, but it's interesting to see her development and her progress, and so that's why I'm really optimistic that
Well, I guess from the organizer side, then, what do organizers need to do to give the space for talented young prodigies like her to excel?
well, I think there has been a big change in the US in terms of offering the opportunities. Um, Titles are either norm or rating, right? So both need strong field, right? If you are focused on getting your rating higher up, offering these FIDE strong tournaments, open sections, or even like master sections where you limit the play up is very important. So organizers could be strict about playing up, could be really exclusive about their either invitational open tournaments or just open tournaments, but just really limiting the play up and limiting the rating, the players with lower rating. They need opportunities as well.
Mm.
I'm not saying that organizers should stop serving them, but if we are tailoring to really elite players or doing these elite players development, then we should do that. And the non tournaments are also very important. Unfortunately, it is a lot of money, so players need to have dedicated parents who can either sacrifice or get some good support. Yeah,
Yeah, it's very tough. I mean, it's tough to even gain attention in the United States for chess itself.
yeah.
Um, okay, I think you have to wrap up soon here. So real quickly, tell me your choice for top male prodigy in the United States.
um, Obviously, Fabi. I like Fabi. He's fun. I have a huge respect for Hikaru. He's amazing player, and he's working so hard. He's a really hard worker and genuinely cares about his fans and giving them chess content.
Yeah.
I think that's often overlooked, and so I encourage everyone to tune into his channel and watch chess because it's amazing what he's producing. And whenever he's playing, him is making sure that someone is covering. So I know Benjamin Bach is covering his channel right now with the Norway chess. So it's a lot of fun. Obviously, I wouldn't be a Californian if I didn't mention Sam Shankland.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I
Shanklin
think
still has a shot.
his unique story of starting out late and becoming a super GM is really inspiring. I think the books that he's writing, the courses he's doing is really useful. So yeah,
you
I
you
think
covered a
these are
lot. Yeah, you covered
yeah,
a
I know, I
whole lot.
know.
Okay, well that's fantastic. Thank you for joining us today, and well, we appreciate all of your work in the uh, organizing and arbitering and the chess.com, and we're gonna add the
Thank
list
you.
up.
Well, if anyone wants to reach me, do have a Twitter
Yeah,
account
great.
that I recently started to use more to cover the events that I'm at, and I'm really enjoying that. So hopefully it's entertaining, and obviously you can always find me on Facebook and on chess.com as well. It's not too hard to find. I don't have any secret behind like anonym username. It's Judit Sztaray. That's it. So
Oh, we're not even friends on chess.com. I need to
we
friend you.
should be. We should be.
All right.
And anyone needs any support on chess.com, just come and find me. So
Excellent. Thank you, Judith, and we appreciate you again.
okay, thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll go off air here.